President Trump is expected to sign a bill to avoid another government shutdown, then declare a national emergency to pay for a border wall. And State Patrol has some advice on how to keep your family safe on the roads and all the messy forecasts we've seen this winter.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on this Friday, February 15th. Danica is in studio this morning. She's talking with State Patrol. We're going to get to that interview in just a minute, and we might need that advice because anything that melted last night
frozen solid
this morning. Going to freeze this morning, yeah.
Yes, we had another big cool down last night. It is significantly colder this morning, so plan on adding extra layers back into your gear this morning. But take a look at this. Skies have cleared, so we'll actually see some sunshine today. A good amount of sun in the forecast right through the afternoon. Here's a look at that weather track showing you the clouds really disappearing across the area over the last couple of hours. So enjoy the sunshine today, but keep in mind it's still pretty cold. We haven't found the bottom just yet. We're still falling. 3 in Madison, down to 7 in Janesville. Platteville's at 0. Prairie du Chien and Viroqua are actually below 0 this morning. Wind chills are a factor. You have to figure this in. Wind chills are in the double digits below 0 in many locations. Here's a look at your wind chill forecast today because that's really what it's all about. It is going to feel like it's below 0 through the lunch hour, with those numbers only climbing to the single digits above 0 this afternoon. Now let's take a look at your first alert traffic maps early this morning. No issues to report right now, although we are starting to see some brake lights show up on Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline. Keep in mind we did get a couple of tenths of an inch of snow late yesterday, and that is on top of anything that was liquid but now frozen on the road. So be careful. No issues, though, to report in and around Dane County at this hour.
Really great idea to take it slow today. There was so much melting yesterday.
Oh, it was a steady stream of water off my roof. A lot of the snowpack disappeared in some spots, but now it's all frozen.
All right, we've been warned. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Speaking of driving, let's start over to Danica now.
Thank you, Leah, and thank you, Hattie. So the freezing rain and snow and ice, they've all been a theme this winter, and we could see more of the same for some morning commutes next week. Ahead of that, we asked State Patrol Sergeant Nathan Hendrickson to help us prepare. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you feel like deja vu all over again yet?
All over again.
All right. Over again. So we actually have a picture you guys sent over to us, and this is of a patrol car. Let's see if we can get that up. Of it just squashed. And as we work on that, what have you been seeing mostly this winter? There we have a shot of it because that looks pretty dangerous there. What kind of things have you been seeing that maybe are uncharacteristic or just more so ramped up this season?
Well, same snow, different day.
Yeah.
It's been a challenging year, our season for us this year. We just remind motorists to make sure that they are taking it slow out there on the roadway, that they plan ahead of time, checking the 511 website for traffic and road conditions, as well as just preparing in advance, making sure they're allowing themselves extra time for their travel. Reducing their speed, making sure they're traveling with their vehicle under control, and avoid sudden braking and turning movements as well, so that they can maintain control.
Is this something we just see cyclically every winter, or is it been worse this year because of the repeat weather?
It's hard to say. I mean, we're used to it. We're all Wisconsinites, right? So it's something that we prepare for every year, and it's a reminder each year that we just ask motorists to take it easy, slow down, and be patient.
Yeah. Do you see more of it when we have the big dumps of snow like we had earlier this week, or do you see more of it when it's like this little bit of stuff that we might be getting Sunday into Monday?
It all depends. When it comes down hard and fast like that, the crews are out there working as best as they can to clear the roadways. It's in the best interest of the safety of the motorists that they just wait out that storm until the roads can get cleared and travel conditions can improve. Because those stranded motorists can become hazards for the plow crews and emergency responders. So, ask yourself that question: do I really need to be out there? Do I really need to make that extra trip, or can it wait?
Yeah, we've seen some of these stranded motorists, and even you guys trying to respond to this becoming an issue. So that's definitely important. Is there anything you would tell a friend, maybe not,
Sure.
if you're sitting down a coffee, what is the warning you give a friend or family member about this kind of weather?
Well, just remember that to be mindful of others that are out there. Everybody else wants to get to where they're going safely as well. You know, it's important with the advance of technology with vehicles nowadays, with four-wheel drives, analog brakes, and you know, stability control. All those technologies are great, but the law of physics always wins out. So
Sure.
just make sure you're traveling at a reduced speed and under control, and just be patient out there.
It's tough to be patient, but yeah, good reminder. Thank you again, Sergeant Hendrickson, for coming in, and we appreciate all the work you're doing this season for sure.
All right, it's my pleasure.
All
Thanks.
right, let's send it back to Leah here.
All right. Thank you, Danica. Thank you, Danica, and thank you, Sergeant Hendrickson, for those tips there. At the Capitol this morning, the president is expected to sign a bill to prevent another government shutdown and also declare a national emergency. It's all to get $4 billion more than what's included in the spending bill for fencing at the border to instead fund a wall. President Trump is expected to sign that bill today, then declare a national emergency at the border to redirect funds from other projects without congressional approval. Democratic leaders are likely to challenge that order immediately in federal court. Local activists are calling for stricter gun laws 1 year after the fatal shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. A grassroots group here in Wisconsin dedicated to preventing gun violence is pushing for a red flag law. The idea is to allow the courts to ban someone from having a firearm if there's reason to believe they could hurt themselves or someone else. Volunteers from WAVE delivered petitions to state lawmakers' offices yesterday on that bill. Democratic Representative Melissa Sargent is still drafting the measure. Republicans say they want to see the language of the proposal before committing to anything else. And in Indiana, lawmakers are focusing on improving school mental health resources a year after that Parkland shooting. Since then, there have been 2 school shootings in the state. Yesterday, a state committee passed a bill allowing schools to bring in mental health providers, in addition to counselors that are already on staff there. But not everyone was in favor of the measure.
This is an overreach and an overreaction to a very emotional issue.
The change of focus of the schools from educating children to becoming mental health institutions.
Now, state lawmakers removed a fiscal component from the bill in order for it to pass. It originally asked for $10 million in funding for a grant program. The bill is now moving on to the full Senate.
New this morning, UW-Madison police have a warning about multiple burglaries around the hospital over the last month or so. Officers sent an alert to UW staff this week. We don't know what exactly was stolen because these burglaries were reported to hospital security and not officially filed with UW police. However, the department is still reminding people working or visiting the hospital to lock valuables up when you're in a public area or take them with you. Also, keep an eye out for suspicious activity like people trying to open different doors to see if they're unlocked. A Sun Prairie assisted living facility no longer has its license to operate. In December of 2017, you may remember 84-year-old Alice McGall was found frozen to death outside Faith Gardens. That home was fined last winter, and in April, the Department of Health Services started an investigation into new claims of abuse there. Faith Gardens surrendered its license to the state yesterday. There were only 3 residents living at the facility, and they have since been moved to another location.
6:08 your time now. Madison's newest fire station is holding its official grand opening later today, and talking to only our Christina Laurie about how pivotal this location will be for the safety of residents on the southeast side. She's live with Chief Davis this morning with more on that. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Leah and Danica. Firefighters here at Station 14, Madison's newest stations, have already responded to nearly 160 calls since the station's soft opening in late December. They've been responding to those calls in 5 minutes or less, which is the city's standard. We're standing in the new kitchen this morning with Chief Davis, who was kind enough to wake up early with us. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So this kitchen is just one of the new features of the building. Can you talk about some of the other new?
Yeah, well, the kitchen that you see behind us is installed. Our firefighters are here for 24 hours, so they prepare meals and eat like a family. We really designed this building to really promote continuity and crew involvement with each other, and so it's kind of an open concept. We've included inside the building a sauna for some sauna therapy, and we use that for post-fire events. So if a firefighter goes and gets real smoky, there's a procedure that they go through to decontaminate to try and pull some of the carcinogens off the skin and out of some of the fat cells.
That's certainly really important. And really quick, I just wanted to ask you, how does it feel to finally have the station up and running? I know this has been a long time in the works.
Well, it feels really good for me. It's really, it was a labor of love for many of us in the department, for many of the members of the Common Council. And, you know, there were a lot of long meetings and a lot of long discussions about the facility and where to locate it and what it should have in it. And it's all come together, and it's always exciting when something new hits the city of Madison like this.
Certainly. Everything has come together, and now it's time for everyone to come together. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, there's going to be a special celebration here at Station 14. It's open to the public. There will be cake if that entices you to come, but you can also get a tour and see all of these new aspects. We tried to show you the sauna, but our connection wouldn't reach that far. But it's a really important measure, Leanne Danica, to help the firefighters here who keep us in the city of Madison safe.
Live for us. Thank you, Christina.
6:11 right now. Just moments ago, we got a note from Sun Prairie Police saying the missing veteran with the green alert out for his safe recovery. He was found safe. That is great news this morning. We'll continue to update you on that throughout the show. And film critics say we certainly don't need another romantic comedy smooth, but we're getting one anyway. Maybe Rebel Wilson's Australian accent and comedic charm can get you out to the theaters this weekend. Will Loper's turning on his charm and hopefully bringing us heart-shaped nachos.
Yes.
His preview of Isn't It Romantic is next.
Goals. Definitely not the forecast, though, today. Much colder than the high 30s we saw yesterday. Still stuck in the teens this morning, but Hattie says at least we'll get some sunshine. We love her half-full attitude. Her first alert forecast is next on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. Just trying to zip up a little bit tighter this morning because it is chilly outside. Quite a change over the last 24 hours. Take a look at that temperature trend. We climbed highs in the low 40s yesterday, 41 officially at the Madison airport, but then it was a steady and quick decline in those numbers to the single digits where we find ourselves this morning. So much colder this morning than it was this time yesterday. We did have some light snow late yesterday as a cold front moved through the area. It added up to about 3/10 of an inch here in Madison. But keep in mind, even though we're not looking at any snow right now, that snow did fall as conditions were getting colder. So anything that was liquid on the roads yesterday is now frozen solid once again and maybe covered up with a little bit of snow. Our temperatures are in the single digits above zero in most locations, although a few spots are below zero this morning. It's 3 here in Madison, 2 in Lone Rock and Monroe, 7 in Janesville. That's the warm spot. 1 in the Dells. There is a wind factor in. Winds are from the northwest around 8 to 15 miles per hour. That's enough to send those wind chills into the double digits below zero this morning. So bundle up as you head out the door. Wind chills are going to stay below zero through the lunch hour and then only climb into the single digits above zero for the afternoon. So not seeing a whole lot of improvement today. Future track wind speeds will show you that the numbers gradually decrease as we go through the day. The winds will stay from the northwest, but they'll get a little bit lighter for the afternoon. Winds continue to lighten up overnight tonight, which means we're setting ourselves up for a very cold start tomorrow morning. Future track forecast shows you that we will have some sunshine today. It's a little slower to clear out the clouds. We've already seen that clearing take place here across southern Wisconsin. Look for mostly sunny skies this afternoon with highs in the middle teens. Pretty quiet conditions expected overnight tonight, but I mentioned it is going to be a cold start tomorrow. We're going to start out close to zero across southern Wisconsin. The clouds roll in, especially late on Saturday, and then some snow spreads in overnight Saturday through the day on Sunday. Right now, looking like a general 1 to 3 inch snowfall for the area. It'll be a fairly light snow that lasts throughout the day, so minimal impacts, but again, some snow expected on Sunday. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. After that, we're talking temperatures generally in the 20s next week. Another chance for some light snow accumulations late Tuesday into Wednesday. Temperatures do get into the 30s, though, as we head into the next weekend. Next Saturday and Sunday, highs near the freezing point. Let's get a check on your first alert traffic now this morning with Josh Tim. What are you seeing this morning, Josh?
Yeah, we're starting off the morning moving all right on the Beltline. Just a few brake lights beginning to show up westbound as it gets busier, but really nothing that will delay you at this point. Roads around Dane County not looking too bad. A few slowdowns on northbound Verona Road and Stoughton Road near the Beltline ramps. No issues downtown around campus. Volume not a factor at this point. And other main routes coming into Madison, they're cruising along at the posted speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Hattie.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, right. This weekend in theaters, not dun, dun, dun. It's Rebel Wilson playing a non-believer in love who hits her head really hard and then wakes up in a PG-13 romantic comedy.
Happens all the time.
Right.
Movie is, yeah.
I hate when that happens.
It's called Isn't It Romantic? And here with the preview is our film critic, Will Loper. Good morning.
Good morning. I mean, hey, it could be much worse. You could wake up in an R-rated horror film filled with clowns or a G-rated animated film where everyone is a talking hamster.
Worse?
It's worse, yeah. Anyway, here's a look at Isn't It Romantic?
Where am I?
You're in the emergency room.
This isn't an emergency room. This is a Williams-Sonoma.
Natalie has to escape every rom-com cliche in order to fall in love and find her way back to reality.
I think I might be going crazy. I hit my head really hard, and I woke up in this alternate universe. And now I have a gay sidekick who's setting gay rights back like 100 years.
I love working the legs.
And guys look me in the eyes.
You're quite beguiling, aren't you? Are you feeling what I'm feeling?
No! Oh, my God. I think I'm trapped in a... My life's become a romantic comedy! And it's PG-13!
Isn't It Romantic is rated PG-13.
Great music.
I don't. Whitney Houston. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with that.
I'm a sucker for movies that are really like self-reflexive and meta and know all the jokes about like these romantic comedies and make fun of it.
Probably a good actress choice too for that kind of thing. She's just Rebel Wilson just nails like sarcastic. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
She's fun to watch.
Yep. It's getting good reviews, so I'm excited personally. I think I'll survive this one.
Survival of the fittest there.
Yeah.
Nachos ready?
They are, yeah.
Excellent.
And I did bring my heart stamped.
We were wondering. Danica was hoping.
And the cheese is red for.
Oh, that's.
For
I'm
hearts.
not sure about
questioning that one.
That's not up my wheelhouse.
Review on Monday?
That's right, I'll have it.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Will.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, hundreds of Wisconsin teens are planning a trip to the Dells to talk about how to make sure their romantic relationship is healthy and safe.
We'll have more on that. Plus, we have a few days off before another few inches of snow this weekend. Before that, Addie's talking about some cold temperatures and a nice sunrise. That's next on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now Weather Center. Take a look at that sunrise in Platteville from our sky camera shot. We'll give you a bigger shot over here on the monitor wall. Gorgeous colors coming out of southwestern Wisconsin this morning where skies are clear. It is cold though. Temperatures are running almost 30 degrees colder in Platteville. In fact, 33 degrees colder than it was this time yesterday. 20 degrees colder here in Madison. So you'll have to add the layers back into your wardrobe today. Here's a look at the actual air temperatures. 3 in Madison, 5 in Watertown. Monroe checks in with 2. It is below 0 in Prairie du Chien this morning. Now our wind chills are even lower. We're seeing many locations, especially from Madison and points to the west, where wind chills are in the double digits below zero. So remind those kids to bundle up as they head to the bus stop today. We're talking about temperatures only climbing into the middle teens this afternoon. Wind chills will be in the single digits above and below zero throughout the day.
All right, thank you so much, Hattie. Having a misdemeanor or a felony offense on your record can be a huge barrier to accessing jobs, education, or housing. That's why a local nonprofit is working to help people who have served their time clear their name. The Urban League of Greater Madison is hosting an expungement clinic today. You can meet with volunteer attorneys to review an arrest or a conviction on your record and determine if any of them can be cleared. That's happening from 9 until 5 today at the Urban League's office on South Park Street.
Hundreds of teenagers are expected to get together in the Dells, not to ride the water slides, but to talk about a pretty serious topic. The organization End Abuse Wisconsin is hosting a summit for teens focused on healthy relationships and preventing dating violence. That's where the group will launch its Dare to Know Teen Ambassador program, a student-led coalition that works to get the word out in schools across the state. Registration for the summit ends today. The actual event happens next weekend. At least 1 in 5 Wisconsin teens say they have experienced dating violence. 6:26 your time this morning. A wanted fugitive in Rock County is taunting the Janesville Police Department on social media about not being able to find him.
Really interesting story, and it's coming up. And there's some bad news for your students' classmates this morning if they rely on free and reduced lunches at school. The day's top stories are next on News 3 Now this morning.
Families living in Middleton could pay an extra $150 to help the city repair flood damage, but voters will get to voice their opinions before that happens.
Welcome to Station 14. We're live on the southeast side of Madison at the city's newest fire station ahead of a big celebration this afternoon.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Truck's a little big for Christina there. My goodness. Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 Now this morning. It is Friday, February 15th. Hope you didn't put away the layers yesterday because you are going to need them today.
Christina's probably happy that she's at least inside, if she's inside that big truck, because it's pretty cold out there. Hattie, unfortunately, is outside. Let's check in with her. Hads, how's it feeling out there?
It's definitely feeling cold this morning. I can attest to that. It is significantly colder than it was this time yesterday, and considering we topped in the 40s yesterday, it's going to be a big change for today. What we do have, though, in the forecast is sunshine. Take a look, a live look from the Edgewater Skycam. Our view of the Capitol is pretty darn nice this morning. Lots of colors in the sky as the sun gets ready to come up just before 7 o'clock. So a beautiful sunrise underway. Here's a look at Weather Track showing you how those clouds quickly cleared across the area over the last couple of hours. So sunshine for all of us early today. Temperatures, though, are quite cold. It is 3 above here in Madison, 2 below in Prairie du Chien, 0 in Camp Douglas. Janesville gets the award for the warm spots with 7 degrees. Not very warm either. Wind chills are even colder. Now our temperatures through the day will climb to a high of 15 degrees this afternoon. But again, you'll have to factor in the wind. It'll likely feel like it's in the single digits above and below 0, even into the afternoon hours. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps. We did get a little bit of light snow late yesterday. That is on top of everything that is now frozen on the ground. Everything melted yesterday, now back to solid ice. So keep that in mind. No major issues, though, showing up on the roads right now, so it looks like you are traveling at posted speeds as you head into Madison.
Hads, I will take that cold if that's the sunrise we get with it. That's gorgeous.
It is. It's going to be a beautiful sunrise today.
Get outside and check it out. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Your time right now is 6:31, and an annual utility charge could triple for Middleton homeowners to help pay for flood damage. The city estimates that last summer's weather did about $5 million worth of damage to stormwater management facilities, including at Pheasant Branch Creek Corridor, Tiedemann Pond, and Stricker Pond. A referendum will ask voters whether they approve tripling the annual stormwater utility charge for the next 5 years to help pay for those repairs. That means it would go from $15 annually to $45 a year through 2024. Some council members think it is the best way to get places like the Pheasant Branch Conservancy back to normal, but others think they're jumping in a little too quickly.
I feel like all of us are missing out, and that vitality that brought us to Middleton and so many of our neighbors and businesses, and just so that we can get out and be a community again.
I love Nature Conservancy. I'm not opposed to paying for it, but we are not ready for it. We should have the numbers and how much it is going to cost.
That was Middleton's Mayor Gurdeep Brar. He would like to know just how much money the city's getting from FEMA and other grants before asking taxpayers to contribute. Voters will get their say on the April 2nd ballot.
This is a bizarre story out of Rock County this morning. Janesville police are asking for tips after a man wanted on a number of charges taunted them online. That fugitive, Cody Finfrock, is wanted for domestic violence, battery, criminal damage to property, and bail jumping. Wednesday, Finfrock commented on a police department Facebook post about him, saying, "Catch me if you can." Police say they already have several tips on where Finfrock may be, but anyone with more information should call the Janesville Area Crime Stoppers. That number is right there on your screen.
Attorney General Josh Kaul is working on legislation to prevent untested sexual assault kits from piling up. Thousands of those kits, dating back to the 1980s, sat on police and hospital shelves because suspects were already identified. Prosecutors felt the cases were too weak or victims did not cooperate. Kaul's predecessor, Republican Brad Schimmel, got federal grants in 2015 to test those kits, but that work wasn't completed until October of last year. Kaul did not elaborate on the bill's specifics, but he says he hopes to introduce it within the next few months. 6:34 right now. Madison's fire department is celebrating the grand opening of its newest fire station later today.
Yeah, that facility is cutting potentially life-saving emergency response times in half for families living on the southeast side. Only our Christina Laurie is live with Chief Steve Davis this morning at Fire Station 14. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Leah and Danica. Fire response times here at Station 14 have been cut down to 5 minutes or less since this station's soft opening about a month and a half ago. But Chief Davis joins us this morning. He knows fire department's work is never complete. Good morning, Chief Davis. What has been the most challenging part of getting this station up and running?
You know, the most challenging part, I think, you know, just getting it to the point where we opened up was as a whole challenging, right? There's a lot of explanation that you need to do with the Common Council. It's a pretty big investment for the city. The building as a whole cost about $6.3 million with design and construction. And so that's a heavy lift on a city budget. And so we worked through it, though. We had great support out of the alders. We had great support out of the mayor. And here we are serving the southeast side of Madison.
And Madison's a quickly growing city. So what's next? What areas could a possible Station 15 be built?
Well, there's really 3 areas that we're looking at right now, and the fire department works with our planning division, who does a great job in the city of Madison, guiding us and advising us. But we're looking at an area west of Madison, out towards Epic. We're looking at an area north of the airport, the Hepker Road, Stoughton Road area, and then a third area north and east of kind of the northeast section of the city. So it'll be years to come yet, but Station 15 hopefully will be on the horizon as we need it.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And if you want to come out, meet Chief Davis, celebrate the grand opening of Station 14, there's a special celebration happening at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We have all the information up on our website, Leah and Danica.
Pretty big deal for the department. Congrats to them on that new fire station. Christina Laurie reporting live for us. Thank you, Christina.
If your kid or their friends rely on free and reduced meals at school, you'll be interested to hear Wisconsin is one of the worst states in the country when it comes to using a federal program to feed students breakfast. The Food Research and Action Center came out with its breakfast report card this week and says only 2 states actually met the goal of feeding 70 low-income students in the mornings. Less than 85% of Wisconsin schools that offered lunch also offered breakfast last year. That makes us one of just a handful of other states where that's the case. Now, most states around the country have breakfast at more than 90% of schools where free lunches are served, and 5 states have it at nearly all of those schools.
Students and staff at the Madison School District will have 2 days added to their school year, along with longer days to make up for all of our recent snow days. Full classes are now scheduled for March 18th and June 12th. Starting February 25th, elementary students will add 11 minutes to their school day, and middle and high schoolers will add 7. Parents, you can find all of those specifics over on our website, channel3000.com.
6:37 right now. Wisconsin's farmers and manufacturers have their eyes on Washington, where Chinese negotiators will be back next week to work on the trade war. We'll have an update in the morning sprint.
And we don't have the schedule for Lambeau Field home games quite yet, but if you do plan to go watch the Pack next season, there's a historic hotel nearby back open after 8 years of renovations. That story's next when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Welcome back. You're taking a live look right now from our Platteville Sky Cam on top of the Queen Bee radio station there. I missed this. We have gorgeous sunrises out in that area almost all the time once the sun actually comes up before 7, and that is the case again today. Hattie will have her full forecast coming up in a bit. First, though, another gorgeous sunrise to share. Valerie emailed us this picture over some frozen water. Gorgeous shot.
Yeah, nice job there, Valerie. Thanks so much for sharing. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it on our Facebook page or on Twitter and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We'll share our favorites right here on the program.
All right, if your Valentine is into eclectic destinations and 1920s Art Deco, there is a pretty cool new hotel just a road trip away.
Yeah, check this out. A 9-minute drive from Lambeau Field, Hotel Northland is back in business after being closed for decades. Designers didn't want the hotel to lose its 1920s glamour, so they kept the original floors, the chandeliers, and the woodwork, all from 1924. This is so cool. The restorations were paired with plenty of modern touches that took 8 years and $50 million to complete. Rates start at $160 a night if you're looking for a Valentine's Day weekend getaway, and they're pet-friendly. Bonus!
Most definitely. I can bet you, though, those rates are going to be a little higher for home games for the Packers.
Yeah, maybe jump up there this weekend. I know Melissa, our producer Melissa, is probably interested in that now that they're dog-friendly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Very neat. All right, 6:42 your time now. We are looking at a calmer forecast for the next week with just a few inches of snow on the way, whether you like it or not. Hattie's back with your first alert forecast next.
First, though, it is February 15th, and we want to say happy birthday to TJ and all the kiddos turning 3 today. Thank you so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Take a look at these high temperatures yesterday across the region. See green on the map, which is a color we haven't seen for quite a while. We have temperatures in the 40s yesterday, 40 in the Dells, 42 in Boscobel, 40 in Platteville, 41 in Madison, and even 43 in Janesville. Not a bad afternoon at all, even despite the lack of sunshine. Now, if you're counting, we're still a few days away from the start of spring. Yesterday may have gotten you a little bit more excited for spring. 33 days till spring officially starts here in the area. That oftentimes, though, is not the first spring-like day. Let's take a look, though, at the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam. Has the best colors this morning. Skies are clear in Platteville. Lots of reds and oranges and yellows on that shot this morning as the sun comes up. No clouds or precipitation in the area. We did have a little bit of light snow earlier, late yesterday. That added up to less than a half an inch for most locations. There is some snow on the map, though, spreading across the northern plains. The movement on this snow is generally to the south and east. And if we plot the upper level winds on the map as well, you'll be able to see that the steering flow for this storm will take it south of our area. So I'm not going to see any of that precipitation. We actually have sunshine in our forecast for today. Temperatures, though, are quite cold across the upper Midwest. A big contrast to our south. Paducah still at 36, St. Louis at 22, drops to single digits here in Madison and well below zero in Bismarck, minus 23 this morning. That's the actual air temperature. Factoring in the wind, it feels like almost 40 degrees below in Bismarck this morning. Minneapolis checks in with a wind chill of 21 below. Feels like 12 below here in Madison. In southern Wisconsin, here's some of those other wind chill numbers. You want to dress appropriately this morning. It is very chilly outside. 20 below is the wind chill right now in Platteville. 17 below in Prairie du Chien. Feels like 15 below in Lone Rock. 16 below in the Dells. You get the idea. It's a pretty cold start to the day. Future track, though, will show you that we have lots of sunshine. Northwesterly winds are going to keep things a little on the cool side today. Definitely colder than it was yesterday. Temperatures back to around 10 by lunchtime, topping in the mid-teens this afternoon. Now, our extended forecast calls for a quiet day on Saturday with partly sunny skies. We're back into the 20s. Heading into Sunday, though, some light snow spreading back into the area. We're looking at around 1 to 3 inches of accumulation through the day on Sunday. Here's our pet walk forecast.
Frito.
What an awesome name for a dog.
What some awesome ears.
I bet there's a treat just out of the camera.
Maybe
picture.
a Frito for Frito.
Oh, that makes sense.
15 today. Frito needs a jacket.
He'll stay inside, eating, snacking. All right,
Frito
thank you,
needs a
Patty.
jacket. That's the best statement of the day, and it is only 6:48 the morning.
The best.
6:51, time for the morning sprint. Addie's got a quiet but cold forecast for us with highs only in the teens today.
And Christina Laurie is live for the grand opening of a new fire station that's cutting response times in half on Madison's southeast side. But we start at the nation's capital, where the president is expected to sign a bill to prevent another government shutdown and also declare a national emergency today. It's all to get $4 billion more than what's included in the spending bill for fencing at the border to instead fund a wall. Democratic leaders are likely to challenge that order immediately in federal court.
The Chinese government confirms it will send trade negotiators to D.C. next week. This comes after 2 days of talks in Beijing over the trade war between the two countries. American officials do want China to scale back plans for creating a group of global leaders in robotics and other technologies. There's another $200 billion tariff hike on Chinese imports that's planned for March 2nd. China, by the way, is Wisconsin's third biggest export market, accounting for $1.7 billion in annual revenue.
If we don't change something, then what we're saying is that it's all right for 24-year-old women to be killed.
That right there is Jim Nozel. His daughter Caroline was shot by her former co-worker back in 2016 at the Metro Market on Cottage Grove Road. He's part of a grassroots organization calling for stricter gun laws here in Wisconsin. They're pushing for a red flag law that would allow the courts to ban someone from having a firearm if there's reason to believe they could hurt themselves or someone else. Democratic Representative Melissa Sargent is drafting a bill on the topic. Republicans say they want to see the language of the proposal before committing to anything.
Beautiful sunrise underway here across southern Wisconsin. Here's the view from the Edgewater Skycam as we look towards the Capitol. Look for a lot of sunshine in the forecast today, but definitely colder conditions. Our current temperatures start out in the single digits above and below zero in some spots this morning. Wind chills are definitely below zero this morning. We'll climb to wind chills in the single digits above zero for the afternoon.
An assisted living facility in Sun Prairie where an elderly woman was found frozen to death a couple winters ago no longer has a license. Faith Gardens was fined last winter, and in April, the Department of Health Services started an investigation into new claims of abuse there. It surrendered its license to the state yesterday. There were only 3 residents living at the facility, and they've since been moved to another location.
Janesville police are asking for tips after a man wanted on a number of charges taunted them online. That fugitive, Cody Finfrock, is wanted for domestic violence, battery, criminal damage to property, and bail jumping. Wednesday, Finfrock commented on a Facebook post about him saying, "Catch me if you can." Anyone with information should call the Janesville area Crime Stoppers.
Almost 1 year to the day since crews first broke ground on the new Fire Station 14. Madison's newest fire department is opening its doors to the public. You can check out the truck behind me and also meet Mayor Paul Soglin, Fire Chief Davis, who you heard from earlier in the show, plus several alders who will all attend the grand opening this afternoon. Station 14 is a much-needed addition to the department safety-wise. For years, people living on Madison's southeast side had to wait between 10 and 15 minutes for crews to respond. That time has now been cut to just 5 minutes. Today's grand opening starts at 1.
Thank you, Christina. Attorney General Josh Kaul hopes to introduce new legislation in the next few months to prevent untested sexual assault kits from piling up. Now, thousands of those kits dating back to the 1980s sat on police and hospital shelves for years because suspects were already identified, prosecutors felt the cases were too weak, or victims did not cooperate. Those weren't processed by the state crime lab until last October.
Some of the people that live on the Pheasant Branch, their back lawns are actually falling into the lake.
That's Middleton Council member Emily Kuhn describing some of the damage from last summer's historic flooding. The city of Middleton estimates more than $5 million to stormwater management facilities is needed. The Common Council has approved a referendum asking voters to triple the annual stormwater utility charge for 5 years to pay for those repairs. For homeowners, that means an increase from $15 to $45 through 2024.
Here's new data out showing Wisconsin is one of the worst states in the country when it comes to using a federal program to feed students breakfast. Less than 85% of Wisconsin schools that offered lunch also offered breakfast last school year. That puts us among the states doing this the worst. Now, the Food Research and Action Center says only 2 states met their goal of feeding 70 low-income students in the mornings.
This weekend, you have an opportunity to jump into the freezing cold Lake Monona to raise money for an organization that helps thousands of athletes achieve their goals. That right there, that's our very own Danica Lewis taking the plunge. The Polar Plunge is the most important fundraiser for the Special Olympics of Wisconsin. Danica's going to be there to host the event. It's happening tomorrow morning at Olin Park. You can register on site starting at 10 a.m.
It is very cold, folks. All right, it is almost 6:57 on this Friday morning. Turning it over to Josh Jim with one more look at traffic. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Picking up on the westbound side of the Beltline, especially between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Would plan an extra minute or two added to your drive time. Usual brake lights beginning to show up now on inbound John Nolan at Rimrock and Olin Avenue heading into downtown Madison. And other main routes coming into the city, they're still cruising along at the posted speeds with no major crashes or issues. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
And the view this morning is a beautiful one. The sunrise coming up just right about now here in southern Wisconsin. Live look from the Edgewater Skycam. No issues with fog this morning, but it is pretty darn cold. Temperatures are in the single digits above zero with wind chills well below zero this morning. If you park your car outside, you're going to need to scrape the windows once again.
Yes, you are. But hey, perfect plunging weather if you ask me.
Maybe tomorrow.
At least you're back in the 20s tomorrow.
Right. That's
Woo!
true. A little bit better for Danica. All right. Have fun this weekend. And you folks, too, get outside, enjoy that sunrise. We'll see you back here Monday morning.